So we'll start recording now. So I guess the first thing we'll start with then is, what got you started in magic when you were young?
Well, when I was very young, I got associated with a fellow by the name of Carol Fox, and he was a comedy magician. And I used to hang out at his store because I liked magic, buying magic, and he took me under his wing and used to teach me things about magic, about doing comedy. And he was a pretty big star himself.
So Carol Fox, he owned this store, it was his?
No, he managed it for Abbott. He was with Abbott, and that's in Detroit, Michigan.
And how old were you at the time?
I started out there probably around 12 years of age.
And you started off as just a kid coming in,
going into
buying
the store,
in magic?
Buying magic.
Okay.
And all that. And he took me under his wing and
you turn on lights in there.
Taught me comedy and different things. And then also after he moved out as manager, Alexander Nagy, who was a Hungarian fella, took over as manager.
Okay.
And don't turn that on, but does this lamp here, does that turn on?
Yeah, he took over as manager.
He also helped me. He did a Chinese magic show called Kim Ki.
Okay.
His real name was Alexander Nagy. But to make a long story short, it was Carol Fox that was instrumental in getting me with Percy Abbott, who owned Abbott's Magic Company. They had 6 stores across the United States.
Okay.
And he put me in as manager of Abbott's Magic Company in Chicago on Randolph and Dearborn.
And what age were you at this time?
18.
You were 18 at this time?
Yeah.
And was Carol Fox still working at Abbott's when you took over as manager?
He was manager of Detroit's shop, and I was manager of Chicago.
Okay,
And the
okay.
Chicago store was the biggest one in the world for magic.
Okay.
And it was on Randolph and Dearborn in the Woods Theater building on the 2nd floor. And it covered the entire 2nd floor of that building. And I was there 2 years before they decided to move up to a different area because they couldn't continue to afford the rent that they had to pay their downtown Chicago.
Okay, so Abbott's Magic, were there other magic stores during this time?
All over the country.
But Abbott's Magic was kind of like, if you wanted magic, that was the place to go.
Yeah, they headquartered out of Colon, Michigan.
And if you were a professional magician and you wanted professional quality magic material, you went to them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They built illusions, they did everything. And Blackstone lived in Colon, was one of the world's most famous magicians, along with Percy Abbott's store being there and what have you.
Right. John, can you go get that photo of Blackstone so Dad can show that? It's in there, I think. Okay, so...
I would like to state just some of the detail about your childhood. Just your parents, first of all, naming them.
Fred and Gertrude. Fred Worpell and Gertrude. My dad was a milkman. And I helped him on his milk route when I was a young kid, delivering milk.
What were there, I mean, as far as automobiles like you see today, I mean, what did you see on the streets when you walked outside your door? What was it like?
Well, there were automobiles, but I mean, they were such where you had to tar the roof so it wouldn't leak.
Yeah.
In fact, we had one car I had to hold an umbrella because the roof leaked so bad.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
And so were your parents, they weren't wealthy people?
Absolutely not. My dad was a milkman.
Okay, and then what, was your mom just a stay-at-home mom then?
Stay-at-home mom, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were they born and raised?
In Detroit, both of them.
Both Detroit
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
And they stayed there their whole lives?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
They did.
And how many brothers do you have?
Well, I have Jim and Don, 2 brothers, and
No sisters.
no sisters. And Don is a doctor, and he's a millionaire, and he lives in Las Vegas, and he's a psychiatrist.
Okay.
And then Jim worked for the government, and he's retired now, but he still lives in Detroit.
Okay.
Don's in Las Vegas.
Okay. Was there any other questions that?
Who were your grandfather and grandmother? Where did they come? Do you know anything about them?
I don't remember much about them.
Yeah, real quick. Here's that photo. So this is a photo of Blackstone, then, right?
Yeah.
And then what? This says what, 1950 on it, on the front
I believe
of
it is, yeah.
I think on the front of the photograph, I think it says something there.
Yeah.
And then so how
Blackstone.
how old were you at that point then? Because that was before Tops and Blue. If that's 1950.
Well, I figure my age now, what would I have been?
So you would have been probably what, 17?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. And how old do you think he was at that time?
Oh, he was probably 65, 70.
65 or 70?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what, I guess, was he a customer of Abbott's?
Well, he lived in Colon, Michigan, where Abbott's has their factory.
Okay.
And he toured the world with a big stage show, illusion show.
Okay.
And I had a lot of respect and love for what he was doing, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I started doing it on my own.
Right.
I had 8 assistants.
So how did you obtain this photograph then?
He gave it to me when he came through Detroit one time.
And you met him?
Yeah.
And
I went
you
backstage,
spoke with him and things?
Went backstage to see him and talk to him. My dad took me to the show.
Okay. And then, now let's see this photograph here. I guess what significance is that photo? Where is that taken? Do you remember?
That in my home, I believe it's got a big W on the front I had made.
Oh, for Worpell?
Yeah, and I was just a kid there. I was probably 12 or 13 years of age.
Okay, so as you started working for Abbott's, you started buying magic and collecting it.
Right.
And then how did you start performing? Were you doing just for like kids' birthday parties or?
Exactly. Anything I could find and everything so I could get experience.
Okay.
They had at that time amateur shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I would work as a guest performer. And these were all in theaters all over the state.
Okay.
I got to do as many as I possibly could to learn more about being on stage and how to handle it and work it and so forth.
Okay. Let's see. Do you think of anything else
Well,
during that time?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know more details just as far as your youth growing up during the Depression. And I mean, do you recall anything? I know when you're a kid, you don't financially.
Well, do you recall any historical events going on at the time when you were younger? Like I know you said you remember, the president announcing attack on Japan.
Yeah.
After the attack of Pearl Harbor.
President Roosevelt, yeah.
And how old were you at that time?
I get about 12 or 13.
Okay, so about the time that other photograph right there,
Mm-hmm.
that the photograph of you and with the magic about that age.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I guess what do you?
Well, I recall at the time the president got on the radio
Mm-hmm.
and said that we were at war.
Mhm.
We'd been attacked by the country of Japan.
Mhm.
And bombed Pearl Harbor.
And so, were you at home at that time when you
Yeah,
heard it on the
I was at
radio?
home.
Okay.
On the radio.
And were you?
There was no television then or anything like that.
Was it something where you were working on magic and you happened to overhear it,
Yeah,
or?
I don't know what program I happened to have on, but he broke in on the program.
Oh, okay.
To
So it
announce
was
to the United States that we were at war.
Okay. Do you have any other things you can think of?
Can you imagine though they announcing
Oh, my
the war,
word.
the whole world?
Well, I'm sure that was a sobering moment.
And then the way they the way Japan, they came in, there was no one knew it, and
Mhm.
bombed Pearl Harbor.
Right.
With complete shock.
Right. Now, I guess what kind of person was your father? Was he like a very active go-getter type person, or was he more of like
no, laid back, very sweet type of person. Very
Did he like keep to
likable.
himself a lot?
A salesman, basically,
Uh-huh.
But everybody liked him.
Okay.
And very easygoing. Never said a harsh word.
And what about your mom? What type of personality
She
did
had
she
a lot
have?
of personality. She was really outgoing, and but both are most kind. My dad never spanked me. I mean, that's kind of man he was.
Mm-hmm.
When did they? Since we're on that topic, when did they pass away? Do you remember the year, or
No, I don't. I couldn't.
remember how old he
My
was?
mother was in California at the time when she died, with my French sister-in-law. Monique Milou was her name. My brother married her, and then they eventually got a divorce, and she and my mother stayed together in California.
Okay.
And that's when she passed away, when she was in California.
Yeah, was there any health complications that she that you know of that caused her death?
Well, I think it was more heart than anything else that caused her a heart attack. And that was her biggest problem that I remember.
And then what about your father?
I think it was the same thing. Same thing, a heart attack. And I can't remember what age he was when he died.
Weren't you back from the military or something at the time that he passed
Yeah,
away?
right, yeah.
Were you on furlough or leave?
I had to come back on leave, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So I would be about 18, 19 years of age at that time. Because that's the age I was in the military. See, I was being drafted into the Army because of the Korean War, but I didn't want to be a foot soldier. I want to do something more active than that, so I ended up joining the United States Air Force.
Right.
For 4 years.
And you joined at the age of 17, 18?
18.
At the age of
Yeah.
18. And you were in service for 4 years, right?
Right. And I was stationed at Sampson Air Force Base, which is the indoctrination
Where is that located?
place. In Geneva, New York.
Geneva, New York.
That's where they take you when you first go in, and then they send you out to other bases. But because of my entertaining and all that, they decided they wanted to keep me there. So I was there for the entire length of my stay as far as being a home base. Although I was out at different bases.
Right, touring.
Touring other things, yeah.
It looks like a lot of these.
You received a letter in the mail, I assume, when you were drafted. You just received a letter in the mail.
Yeah, the usual.
And so, how did you, when they received the letter? I guess I guess obviously that wasn't the final say. So you had a choice of enlisting in anything you wanted, or do what.
Well, no, I was going to be drafted. I knew, and if I was, I would, at the age and everything.
Right.
I'd go in wherever they put me, the Army always.
Right.
And I decided I didn't want that, so I joined the United States Air Force.
So when you went to enlist in the Air Force, did you tell them about the letter that you received?
Yeah.
And that you didn't want to go in the Army?
Right.
And so how did they? They
wanted to have you.
It wasn't a problem as long as you joined the service. Then it was okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And just in your childhood too, just list whoever you can think of. And I know you did a little bit of that with Blackstone and Carol Fox, but just list men that were influential in your life at that time that kind of took you under their wing, and maybe didn't even take you under their wing, but they were men that you looked up to, and just people that spurred your interest in what you did.
Primarily, it took me under their wing was, like I say, Carol Fox, because he was manager of the magic shop where I used to go, Abbott's.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, Alexander Nagy, who was a Hungarian fellow, was manager for a while, and he took me under his wing. And I spent a lot of time with both of them. They were both nice gentlemen, and learned a lot about magic and how to perform and different things. And then at that time, I had a lot of respect for Blackstone. He had a big show. And then there was another magician I used to love, and that was Dante, D-A-N-T-E. And he had a big illusion show, and carried like 8 to 12 people, assistants, and so did Blackstone.
Okay.
So your passion in life, you would say, I mean, just picking out these different men you're talking about would be live entertainment. That was your true passion.
At that time I wanted to have a show like theirs, which I eventually got.
Yeah.
I started collecting big magic, sword cabinet where you put a girl in the cabinet, run swords in, and she disappears, and the levitation where you float her in midair, and all these things. And I collected all this, and I ended up with 8 assistants and touring. I went to Rochester, Michigan for one of the companies there and did a big performance, a fundraising thing for them with my big show. And the different theaters, and in my scrapbook you'll see lobby displays promoting my show for that theater, and go in there and go in on a percentage of the take, whatever they charge. And I did this for a number of years with my big show.
Now,
Yeah.
I noticed in some of your scrapbooks that there's an article that there was one where you did a charity event at your high school for one of the children who needed an iron lung.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember that performance?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay. And then I guess the way you obtained all this magic is you would buy it all, but you earned money through doing other performances.
Exactly.
And then you would go back and add to your collection.
Right.
By reinvesting your money in more magic.
Right, exactly right.
Okay.
Well, so I know you're in the Air Force. Obviously, that happened from 18, the age of 18,
Right.
to 22. Then, or
Yeah.
about there.
About there, yeah.
And then what did you do immediately after the Air Force? What was your next big step? And I assume at the end of the Air Force, that's when you were given the Rogers
Well, I got
Award, or when did that take place?
the Roger was with, I I won a competition while I was in the military, and I went out as the top master of ceremonies. And as you read in the letter, I competed against 7,000 others.
Mm-hmm.
And the last two people in the contest to go to be decided upon was me and Jerry Van Dyke, and I won. And they made me the top master of ceremonies. And they put together this show with 22 entertainers called Tops in Blue. And they toured the entire world.
How many different entertainers?
22.
22.
And I was the master of ceremonies. The master of ceremonies is the one that introduces the acts.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of runs the show. If there's a problem, you go out there and take care of it.
Yeah.
Always have a trick or something up your sleeve, because things do happen.
Oh yeah.
But we played some great places. We went to Tokyo, Japan, and I always remember working in the Ernie Pyle Theater, which is the biggest theater in Japan. It's in Tokyo. It seats like 6,000 people.
Mm.
And I got a picture I think I showed Sharon of me going on stage in a rickshaw.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Japanese taxi where the men pull you on, and I got him off the street to come on and take me on stage. We got a picture.
Was it a full house at the time you were doing the show?
Oh yeah, packed. And it's all military people that came to the show
Mm-hmm.
from the different bases there. And on this tour we hit everywhere: Iwo Jima, Okinawa, Guam, all the big islands. They gave us a vacation in Hawaii for 2 weeks after performing, and we did like 500 shows in about 490 days. I mean, we were working every day.
And I guess when you were that just brought a notion to my mind or a memory, but I know you've got a photo of like Mr. Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
Did you meet him while you were on that vacation?
Yeah, I'm on vacation there, yeah.
And so when you were in Hawaii, you met Mr. Hawaii, which that was a muscle building competition, right?
Yeah, right, yeah. We went
Okay.
to see it, yeah.
Now I guess before you went into the military, now I know you've been married several other times before Mom.
Right.
What, were you married before you went into the Air Force? Or did you the first time you got married wasn't until after you got out of the Air Force?
I'm trying to remember.
That was your marriage with Virginia.
Yeah, I know. That's before the Air Force.
That was before the Air Force?
Yeah,
And then you guys got divorced?
yeah,
And that was before the Air Force?
yeah,
Okay, and now your second marriage, that wasn't until after the Air Force?
right,
Okay, after Tops and Blue and everything?
right.
Okay.
Since we're on the Air Force too, I mean, let him talk about his photos of just the Rogers Awards. Obviously, going to be a highlight, and talk about who was on stage and.
Yeah, if you can hold this one up
Yeah, what
right
does he
here.
look like here?
Let me see.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if you can hold it like this.
That he looks
And
like.
it's just,
Are
if
you
you want to
talking
go
about-
through
It's a TV.
and just
person on
explain what you're
TV.
doing there.
They're
Yeah.
not on TV now, but they used to be.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay,
Who
so
does he
what?
look like? Wait a minute. Who does he look like here today? There's somebody on TV, but they're not. They don't have their TV show now, but they used to every day.
Oh, I don't know.
Is that are you talking about Dick Van Dyke or?
Barney Fife.
Or Barney
Oh,
Fife, yeah.
a little, yeah.
He does, doesn't he?
Who?
You look just like Barney Fife.
Well, the smile, that's the big grin.
Oh, yeah.
Barney Fife had that rubberized face. He could do
right.
a lot of facial expressions. And
He looks just
Okay,
like
so
him there.
this is one of your scrapbooks, one of your mini scrapbooks,
Yeah,
and
well,
this
this is a drawing made by one of the people in the art department, and they used to joke with me because all the medals I had I would wear, because I had been all over the world. Everywhere you go, you get a medal. I was in Korea, so I had a Korea medal, and so I looked like a general. And they made this drawing here of me with the horn while doing the comedy thing, and I used that for a lot of promotions. And before all that, I put together a show called the Spooktacular Review, which was a spook show that we put in theaters.
and this was during Tops and Blue.
No, this was before that.
This is before Tops and Blue.
This is
Okay.
before.
wow.
And this fella here would make up as the Wolfman, and I had Frankenstein.
Now, who made these costumes for you?
They did it themselves.
Okay.
And then I had what they call a burning alive illusion, and I had this instrument panel and a coffin on stage, and we take the woman and put her inside the coffin, and I operate this panel, and then when I push the button, the coffin would blow up.
Right.
She's in there and she'd be gone.
Hmm.
It's called The Burning Alive Illusion.
Okay.
But that was all part of this, here's Frankenstein here, Spooktacular Review. And we worked in theaters. In fact, these are the promotions for some of the theaters. These are the lobby displays we had promoting
Okay.
the show that we brought in like a month before the show.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another one here promoting the show.
Now
So
these are.
What did you use to, as far as transport, to haul this equipment and the people?
I had a semi truck, and I had a fella.
And the trailer on the back of it that you
Yeah,
put everything into.
yeah,
Now some of these people who performed with you, some of them were people you met in high school, right?
yeah, right, yeah.
And then I guess some of these people, were you paying them or were they doing it for the
Oh
fun?
no, they were paid.
Everybody, did you guys kind of divvy the money up?
Well, I paid him so much a show.
Oh, you
I
paid
can't
them?
remember what it was,
Okay.
yeah. And so
you
these
pretty
are
much
all-
owned the show. It was your show, and so
My show,
they
yeah.
were your hired help. And
Right, exactly. See, these are more shots from the spook show. That's the Burning Alive Illusion.
Okay.
Oh, where it ends up a skeleton?
Yeah. But instead of using, it would blow up, and that's how. When the sides dropped down, that's what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman was gone. I mean, that was supposedly her. And that's a floating zombie ball, where it's a round silver ball, and you cover with
I
a
know,
cloth,
Jeffrey's done that before.
and it floats up off the table and around the room, and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And here is, I told you about wanting a full evening show. Well, I finally got one together, and this is the program. That's a picture of me floating a woman in midair, and it's a full review production of. It ran two and a half hours in length, the show, and this gives a list of all the people that were my assistants and the program and what have you. And this was a promotion. I can't remember. I think that was in Rochester, Michigan. Charlie Worpell and Company. It says. I can't see where the name is, but that was in Rochester. I think it says Rochester down here.
yeah,
And they hired me to bring this show in, and they sold tickets to raise money. And they did very well. And these are pictures from it, and that's from the program, Benefit Show.
so that was another act other than the Spooktacular that you toured and performed, right? And you
Yeah, this
did
was a full
multiple-
evening show, Worpell and the Magician and Company. And this was not having to do with the spook show or anything
And
else.
so this performance was designed to be more of a classy performance.
A class 2.5 hours.
It wasn't meant to be a spook comedy type show.
No, right.
But like a classy
I
performance.
I do parts in it with comedy,
Mm-hmm.
different things, just like Blackstone would do or anybody else.
Right.
There was a lot more serious. I had assistants like this gentleman here, and like floating the woman in midair and what have you.
Now the woman who's being floated, who is the woman?
That was, this here is Beverly Cobb, and she went to high school with me.
Okay.
And then she, because I knew her, I brought her with me on the show.
Okay.
And then this here is All-Star Magic Show, Stars of Magic, and this lists the different magicians on the show, and my name is listed here. And that was a show they put together for the public, and here's a program cover.
Let me.
So during your time period, I mean, obviously, television was not really
There
even a
was no
thought
television,
at that time.
hardly, no.
Well, there.
Especially during this time, as you were real young then.
Yeah, there's
so-
no television.
And it seems like, and then the thing too, you see in a lot of older movies, you notice in a lot of older movies, it shows a lot of younger people going out and actually doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you hear about people who are 30 years old, they still live with mom and dad.
Yeah, right.
They never leave home.
Yeah.
But one characteristic that you notice about older people who grew up in the 40s and 50s was they were pushed out to, they were going out to accomplish things.
Yeah.
And one thing you see is like this young lady who has the ambition to come with you to do shows.
Yeah, well, and one thing I really admired of my parents is they let me go places that normally most people didn't go. And Percy Abbott came to my mother and dad and said, we'd like to send him to Chicago to manage our store. And what a thing, I mean, it's at my age. And I never had been in Chicago in my life. So I went to Chicago and made it work. And loved it. And managed their store.
And you were 18
Yeah,
at that time?
yeah.
Did you live in an apartment at the time, or?
Yeah, I had an apartment, lived by myself.
Yeah.
Is that the apartment on the Circle in Chicago, the Ohio House?
That was one of them, yeah.
That was one of the apartments?
Where do you know that from?
Because you took us there
Oh, did I really?
in Chicago when we went to go to the
Right, exactly.
the
Ohio, yeah,
museum. We went to the Ohio House, and that was when we stayed the night there one night.
That's right. That's
I don't know if Jeff remembers that or
That's
not.
I
that big
don't
room.
remember
Remember, it's that big room up
And
there.
there was a
That's a nice room.
Yeah,
it was a big it was above. What was it above?
I forget.
It was like a
on
little
the second floor.
It was like a little restaurant or something,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, right.
And then the Ohio House was above it.
Yeah.
And it had a microwave and a refrigerator up there.
Yeah.
Now I remember that we went to
I can't
the
believe you remember all
Museum
that.
of Science and Industry the next day,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we went to the Museum of Natural History. Is that what the museum is in Chicago? Natural History.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the science. I remember science and industry.
Science and Industry
Yeah.
and the Natural History,
Yeah.
something like that.
Field Museum.
They have a lot of big
Where
museums
did
there.
we
but-
go to see the U-boat? Was that the?
That's there.
That's right. That's right along the coast of the Lake Michigan, I think.
It had the whole story of the capture of the U-boat.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Okay, I guess.
Just real quick too, since you're on
Navy Pier, I think that was that.
Oh, Navy
Lake
Pier.
Michigan, yeah.
Okay.
You remember the address of where you grew up, and there in Detroit, Michigan?
7490 Rutherford in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, Rutherford. And then what were the streets like? What were they?
Were they concrete,
Were they
I don't know,
asphalt,
they're like here, but they had a lot
Gravel?
of brick streets.
a lot of brick?
A lot of brick streets. And of course, there was,
So you would, and your dad drove a milk truck. You used a horse.
he
and
had a
buggy,
horse and buggy. In fact,
and you'd hear the clanking of the wheels as it.
well, you go on the porch there, you'll see two horseshoes. Go take a look and bring it in.
I'll bring him in.
And that's from my dad's horse, Strawberry.
Didn't that something?
Yeah, and that's those are his horseshoes. Those are his shoes of my dad's horse.
Okay.
And he made that, wipe your feet
That
out
was
when you
a big horse.
And so you would scrape
Oh, yeah.
you'd scrape your boots off right here.
Right, exactly.
And so these are the horseshoes.
These are the actual shoes of my dad's horse.
So
Was he like a
the
Clydesdale?
the size of them.
Yeah.
They were big
Oh
horses.
yeah, they pull a milk wagon.
I guess I never really noticed how big they were. You know?
Yeah. Now we've been around horses, and
Oh,
we
yeah, we
understand
did.
a little more. But
And we feed him oats every day. Put a bag on his head.
And so who welded this together for you?
I can't remember, but
where do you keep the horse? I mean, was that?
well, they
part
at
of
the,
the
at the
company?
creamery.
No, yeah. Okay,
They
so they
had
have
stalls in
stalls,
the creamery. Yeah. And at the end of the horse knew the route by heart. You could get on the truck and the wagon, and he just
He just
take
knew
you
where to
each
go.
one, and you jump off and get back on. He knew right where to go.
And you would
right,
ride with your dad, right?
Yeah, and right at the end, and I carried the milk in a case, glass bottles, and at the end of the day, when we got to the end, last stop, he'd take off, and boy, we'd have to be in the wagon to go home.
So his day was done, just like yours, right?
This was the end of the day, but
He knew the route was over.
Hey, he said, "This is it. I'm out of here."
Charlie, what did the guy at Abbott's Magic Shop that wanted you to manage the Abbott's Magic Store in Chicago, what did he see in you that would cause him to go to your parents at you being such a young age and ask permission for you to manage their
Well, I
store?
worked with him. I grew up with him, Carol Fox, and he was a big-time comedy magician, King of Corn. He was known as, and he was at all the magic conventions, and everybody knew him. He was a big act, and he had a lot of respect for me, and he knew me, and he taught me everything I knew.
He saw
And so
obviously
Percy
talent
Abbott and
there.
him were real close because he managed all of Abbott's stores at one time or another. So he talked to him about, they had an opening in Chicago, and he said, well, why don't you take Charlie and send him there, because he'll do a good job. And that was really a fantastic experience. I had never been in Chicago.
So this
young
was
kid.
this was really life on your own.
On
for the
my
first
own
time.
for the first time, yeah.
And so this probably was a huge experience for you.
Yeah, it
Just-
really was fantastic.
You had the
But it was a big store. It was the second floor of the whole Woods Theater building that the store was.
You think that theater's still there?
It's still there, but the store is. It was on Randolph and Dearborn. We have windows overlooking Randolph all along the side to advertise. This is right downtown Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
The Loop, they call it.
The Loop.
Yeah, and
Okay, and then what's I guess you went through that page. I think what's the next page have on it?
as a kid too. Before you get into that, what sort of things did you like to do for fun? I mean, what
Besides magic.
yeah. I mean, obviously you spent a lot of time invested in this, but did you go to movie theaters and
I used to like
friends?
yeah,
You'd hang out with friends.
Yeah, go to
friends
movies and
Do you have like any particular radio programs that you like to listen to?
Well, the things that we always listened to was the Lone Ranger on the radio.
Tell me about the time your mother took a hold of your ear in the movie theater.
Who did what?
She said your mother took a hold of your ear in the movie theater.
Oh yeah, because I had gone there with some girl. Neighbor Eileen. What I can't remember.
Is she
Irene,
from your elementary school or from high school?
I was in high school.
Okay.
And she came and got me out of there fast.
No, because you did she not? She didn't know you were there. You snuck over there.
Yeah, right. She found out about it.
And was she
Watch what you're
upset
saying.
that-
This is being documented.
was she upset that you was with a girl?
Yeah.
Well, that's funny.
She pulled him out by his ear.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else?
These are just pictures of some of the magic tricks I did.
Is there yeah, and I'll let you go back to talking about that. One last question: is there any smells? This may sound weird, but is there any smell that you remember in your mind just of growing up in Detroit, Michigan? Did you smell factories? Is there anything that sticks out in your head, or is
Well, yeah, we lived where we lived. We lived near a rendering factory. You know what where they render fat?
Oh, okay.
So like a meat packing plant.
Yeah, only it was a rendering plant, and you could get that smell all the time.
The burning fat.
Yeah, and it was terrible.
Was it at all hours of the day, or just
No, just certain
times
hours
you
of the
would-
day when they were rendering it.
What
And
does rendering mean?
they
Just
processing. They cook
it.
the fat and make it into lard that you buy. You know those cans. And they call it a rendering plant. All the fat was sent there from all the animals that they butchered,
Oh my goodness.
and that's how they make that stuff. What is it you buy? The fat
Crisco?
Crisco.
But that's a vegetable shortening.
Yeah, but these were from animals. Shortening.
Well, as a child, what kind of toys and things did you play with? I mean, I know what we have today, but I mean, back in that
Well,
time.
I loved my electric train. I had that, and we used to make. I tell you what, we used to make is little go-karts. That was a big thing. Make them out of orange crates.
And they were
you
these.
would push down the street.
Push down the street.
They had no pedals or anything in them. But you would push them and jump in.
Yeah, and they
could steer
take a
'em?
stick sometime and push it. You stand back and push the guy with
Oh, okay.
the cart. You put wheels on it, like from the wagons.
Could you
and
steer them?
You had a steering wheel. Yeah,
Okay.
and that was real big.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were always making
Kids
those.
in the neighborhood, you'd race them together. Or,
Yeah, yeah. In fact, they had soapbox derby races. You
Mhm.
remember that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's where they came from,
Okay.
and they were made. That was exactly what they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only real updated ones. They
Huh.
were real sophisticated ones.
Right.
When you
Right.
get back to
They were made out of orange crates. You put an orange crate on top and a board on the bottom to sit on.
Right.
Yeah.
Wheels and what
what'd
have
you
you.
And
use
the-
for the wheels?
From wagons.
When you say orange crate, this is a crate with that
Carried oranges.
from the fields. They
Yeah.
would put oranges in these
Yeah.
crates, and then they would unload them from the trucks.
They take them to the store and they take the oranges out and you get a hold of their
Right,
crates.
so they're big crates.
Yeah, they're big.
they're not small crates.
No, they're
They're
big.
Okay.
like a plastic crate or a wooden
No, they're
crate?
wood.
'Cause they didn't have plastics then, did they?
No, they
No.
no.
Yeah, there weren't
They were
plastic
wood.
factories, I don't think.
They were
Okay.
wood crates, but they were perfect for what we were doing with them. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like I said, I had electric trains and different things, and we were making these carts, go-karts and all that. Basically, that's all I can remember at the time.
Okay, if you want to, I guess, well, what's this page about?
The
The one on your right.
This here is Stars of the Future, it's called. These are all acts that we put together and toured, and that was in the Air Force too. You can see the guys lined up here.
And this is Tops in Blue?
No, this is another show before that. This is a show we just put together. This is a country western guy that used to play and sing, and Dave Hunter, he was a ventriloquist, Dick Kerr.
And this was while you were in the Air Force?
Yeah, there's
Okay,
a show
so-
of us in the uniform right here.
Okay, so this would be the year that you were in the Air Force. This would be the year before Tops in Blue was started by Major Al Riley.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Major Riley. No, he became a colonel.
So Tops
Okay.
in Blue wasn't even thought of at this
Right.
time then.
This picture here is Dave is trying to think of his name. Anyway, he remember the girl you want to know who I used in my show?
Yeah.
Beverly Cobb. Well, he ended up marrying her,
Oh, okay.
and
And what's his name?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Does it say there on the page?
I don't, let me look. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know the name, good grief. I can't think of it. Stars of the Future. Moore.
Chet Dale Moore?
Yeah, that's his brother. Dale
Chet?
Moore, Dale Moore.
Okay.
Yeah, he married Beverly.
Okay.
And
And how old was he there in that photo? Do you
probably
remember?
18.
So he's about your same age then?
My age, yeah. And these are all people in the show. This is the band with our show, or with that show.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this is Dave Hunter. He was a ventriloquist, and he was a country western singer. Dick Kerr, a real fine comic, and Barry Cinco, he's another comic. And they did, Chet and Dale Moore, they did acrobats, and they also used a trampoline. And this is a comedy act. Both were sergeants in the Air Force. And then the Sampson show hits the road with StarCast. We went on tour to different bases.
Mm-hmm.
Sampson Troop heads for south to stage shows. Stars of the Future to travel off base twice in next 2 weeks, and it tells about me being on the show. And
Okay.
12 entertainers hit the road. This was all from that Stars of the Future. That was
Okay.
before Tops and Blue.
Okay.
Is that what they called it? Stars of the Future?
Stars of the Future, yeah.
Oh, it's this one here is missing.
Yeah, that's-
The other side's
yeah,
broke
it's-
off. Can you turn it here so I can get it on the camera
Yeah,
too?
good.
Okay, now do you remember? Oh,
This
do
is-
you remember this photo when that was taken?
Yeah, this is all pictures from that same tour.
Okay.
Here's some of the acts again. Dale Moore and Chet Moore and the two sergeants from the Air Force
Okay.
did comedy
Okay.
and what have you. So it's just pictures. There's Dick Kerr.
Okay.
And then this here, United States Air Force, and that's the World Talent Contest. Now we're getting into Tops and Blue.
Okay. Now the World Talent Contest, that was something that took place before the tour, because the talent contest is that what selected
The
the
Air
people
Force-
who was going on the tour.
Well, Major Riley from Washington, D.C. staged a worldwide Air Force talent contest.
Mm-hmm.
And we competed at different levels. It would start at your base level at Sampson where I was, or wherever you happen to be stationed.
Mm-hmm.
And who won there went to the next level, so you finally went to the finals, which was in Washington.
So and you went to the finals then, right?
Yeah, I won. And as you read in the letter, I competed against 7,000 others that were trying for the same thing. And I ended up winning along with Jerry Van Dyke. We were the last two on
The top two people
getting to the top.
to perform.
Right. And then when I won, they awarded me with this Roger, and I think you saw the picture of the Tin Man. What's his name, Sharon?
Jack Haley.
Jack Haley giving that to me. Walt Disney was there and what have you.
Now, how old was Jerry Van Dyke at that time?
Same age as me,
About 23, 24?
something like that. Yeah.
Okay. When
And,
you guys...
So,
Yeah,
so
did
you were awarded this before your performance in Tops and Blues? Or
yeah, this
after?
is before they put the show together.
Okay, so because of this, now you're
They made Tops and Blue.
yeah.
And then, so they're taking all the winners and they're doing a tour with
Right.
the winners from the competition.
Right, exactly.
Now, did you win with Jerry Van Dyke, or did you win over Jerry
I
Van
beat him out.
Dyke? Okay. Then you was the, okay,
Because
Well, see,
Jerry
when
Van
I-
Dyke after Dad left, then Jerry Van Dyke.
Then they
came
put him
in.
on the
so
show.
he was second.
Yeah.
Jerry
in
Van
line.
Dyke, yeah.
Okay, out of all the levels of competing,
Yeah.
you were the last one at the top.
Him and I were the last two on stage. And what's his name, the Tin Man? He was one of the judges, and several others stars, and Walt Disney. And I performed, and he performed, entertaining, emceeing the show. And they decided to they picked me as the top one over Jerry
So
Van
you
Dyke.
went through all the levels to the
Yeah.
top, winning each one,
7,000
and
people.
one out at the top.
Right, 7,000 competed.
Wow,
That's good.
Total.
Yeah, that's
that's fantastic.
And these are pictures of me performing.
that would be comparable today to what they do, the American Idol. I don't know if you've seen that,
Yeah,
but they have
yeah.
a lot of people competing, and it's thousands of people trying to compete for the top.
Exactly.
They all go to different levels,
Yeah.
and they're
Well,
getting kicked
let
out
me
as
a-
they go,
let me ask you
as
this.
Judges judge them.
Or
And,
even like the movies when they're giving out Oscars and things.
Yeah, let me ask you this: when
They
you
beat out all the
when you won the Tops and Blue contest, how long did that then allow you to tour for 3 years?
Yes, after that was over, they put the show together of the
Mhm.
winners,
Right.
and then we toured.
You toured for the rest of the time you were in the military.
Right, exactly.
So then, when your term was up, did they have a new contest after that?
No, then when it was up, they asked me to stay, and I was just drug out with doing all these one-nighters for so many years.
For 3 years.
Yeah, that I decided I didn't want to, and so when I left, Jerry Van Dyke took my place.
Okay.
And Jerry Van Dyke had his own television show, if you recall. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Jerry Van Dyke or Dick Van Dyke?
Jerry Van Dyke.
He had his own show before he
Jerry
went on.
did.
Yeah, he had his own show.
Before he went to Tops and Blue.
This was after.
After Tops and
Yeah,
Blue.
after
Okay.
Tops and Blue.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of the name. I can't think of it.
of course, we know his brother went to the top with his.
Oh yeah, Dick
television
Van Dyke.
shows and-
He did everything.
But Tops and Blue, okay, when you say it's after Tops and Blue, it's after Tops and Blue that you were in. Jerry Van Dyke came in and continued Tops and Blue. Right?
Yeah. Then after he left that, he got his own television show.
Okay, so it was after Jerry Van Dyke left Tops and Blue. That's when he got his own television show.
After that, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess. And then in this photo here, this is Jack Haley here.
No, I don't remember who that is. It's not him.
No, that's not.
Is that him?
That's not him. No.
You don't
he has
remember
a
who
very
it is?
distinct
I don't
look.
remember.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd know if it was him.
Okay.
Who is that with the long white shirt on?
That's me.
So all these are photos of
Well, that's
you.
a comment. See, what I did is, at the end of the show, I pulled up my shirt and it dropped to the floor and it became a night shirt.
Oh,
and I
okay.
produced a nightcap and put it on and I said good night.
That's in the book you got.
Yeah.
That's what you're in that picture, that lineup. But you
Yeah.
can't see who that is, but you know by what you've
Yeah,
got on that
yeah,
that's you.
the night shirt, yeah. Because I closed the show with that.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and flip the page. We'll go to the next one.
Yeah, this is all done. This is impersonation of a lady getting dressed, and you can see how tan I was there, Sharon. Look,
Is that you?
yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Impersonation of this intoxicated man riding on a streetcar. See him holding it. Okay. Then here's the parade they had. This is there he is here.
Oh, well, here, let me see the.
Yeah,
You
he's
can
got a very
recognize-
distinct look.
You can
tell,
recognize
yeah.
him there.
Oh, okay. I thought the other photo looked like him, but maybe not.
And that's
Tell me.
that movie star that was there.
And what's her name?
Oh man, what is it? Hillary something. Wait, it's
I think one of the articles that you have in your scrapbook actually is that photo, and I think it actually says her name. I
yeah, it
think.
does have her name on it. Yeah. And this is a parade they had for us. We're in these open air convertibles.
And then that's
The
the
winners of the show.
the Tops and Blue people.
Yeah,
Oh, they had a parade for all the
Yeah.
all the winners of Tops and Blue.
yeah. Here's the parade.
Okay. And then
This is the Air Force personnel back here. And see,
Okay.
when I went back to Sampson Air Force Base, and after the tour, they present me with that commendation award.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still at Sampson Air Force, which is where all the training people come through. It's a huge base.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a parade for me, and I stood out on the grandstand with the commanding general
Right.
while they paraded in front of me, and then he put the medal on me. What
Okay.
an honor! There's an article about it in the
Who
paper.
put the medal on you?
The general, head of the Sampson Air Force Base.
Okay, and then in this next
Did you ever
photo,
perform at Sampson Air Force Base?
I was stationed there all the time I was in the service.
Yeah, and did you perform it all there? I mean,
Oh yeah,
just-
all the time. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, and then in this next photo here, now that's the awards ceremony. Is
These
that
here
what
are
that
all
is?
the winners of the talent contest.
Do you remember any of these people's names?
Oh, I don't know. It's boy.
You said there's like 22.
Yeah. Olga Ford is the colored woman. She was a comedian. And where is she? She's right here. See her?
Okay, yeah.
And this is Doris. She was a singer.
Okay.
I remember her name. Gammon and Zhang. That's these two. They did a comedy act.
Let me hold this. Let me hold this up.
And this is that woman again. Hillary. her name is in there. And there's Haley. Which is
Jack Haley's right here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
And
That's
that's me right there.
okay, and then this is Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Do you remember what significance was he awarded an award?
He was one
that
of the
night?
judges.
He was a judge.
The Hollywood judges. He's
Okay.
one of the
Yeah, one of
Hollywood
them, they
judges.
brought in
Okay.
to judge him and the
And
Tin
Jack
Man
Haley.
and Jack Haley,
And then that other actress.
and that woman.
Okay.
So there are 3 judges.
Yeah, they're the ones.
That's typical. That's usually what they have is 3.
And so he was awarded this award just for being a part of Thompson Blue as a judge, maybe? You think?
What do you mean?
This award that he's holding in his hands.
Is that Walt Disney?
Yeah. Did they give the judges plaques?
I don't remember if they did or
Okay.
not. Could
And then
be.
do you remember any of these people over here?
Well, these are part of the members of the band. I know.
Those are band members?
Yeah, Thompson Blue type of band.
Okay.
And that's me here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this here is you.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that guy there was a ventriloquist. I can't remember his name offhand.
Okay. Well, hold this here. Let me get a close-up of
Okay.
the photo there.
And that's, like I said, actually getting the reward. The Roger, he's handing it to me there.
So were you the one to put together these scrapbooks, or were there other people that helped or took any part?
I put them all together.
Okay.
These books, yeah.
Were these pictures sent to you, mailed to you?
I mean, these pictures
Yeah.
here.
Who took these photos?
I can't remember where I got all those from.
And that's fine if you can. I mean, I couldn't remember everyone
I
took
couldn't-
my
I
photo
couldn't-
either. That's a hard. That's a difficult one to answer.
It'll tell her name probably under here.
Yeah, it says Roger, not Oscar. Charlie Worpell Wright holds Silver Roger, awarded him for being selected top master of ceremonies in Air Force. Congratulating him are Hollywood actress Hillary Brooke
That's it.
There you go.
and Lieutenant Luis Levin,
Uh-huh.
project officer of the contest from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia.
Right.
And then here, this is an article.
With my mother.
Yeah, and this is all about you. This is when you came home, right?
Yeah.
And then and I'm guessing that's from a local newspaper.
Yeah, right. It probably tells you there.
That would have been about the time that your father passed away, wouldn't it? Around that time.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
And yeah, I assume you got to speak to him before he passed away.
Oh, yeah, and my dad and they really liked Major Riley. They get to meet him, and my dad was awestruck. You know, this guy's a major, he likes my dad.
Mhm.
And my dad was just a milkman, you know.
Right.
And he
oh,
was
yeah.
thrilled to death to be able to be with people like that.
Mm-hmm. This Hillary Brooke, was that her name?
Hillary
Yeah,
Brooke.
right.
What significance did she have in Hollywood? I mean, was she a singer? Was she an actress?
An actress.
Okay.
She was a big star at that time. And here's me with the Roger. And like I say, that was the project officer.
And Hillary Brooke, I mean, looking at her, she's probably, what, in her 30s, you'd say? Or
I would guess so, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Very
she's
attractive.
probably passed away by now. I would
yeah,
imagine
that was a long time ago.
she'd probably be like in her late 90s if she was still
you're
alive.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what this whole thing reminds me of?
What?
The Titanic, when that old woman is telling her story, the one that fell in love with that boy on the ship.
Oh.
And she's telling,
Did you watch that movie?
yeah, she's telling her story.
The one
And
with
then
Leonardo
at the
DiCaprio?
end of that movie, she drops the necklace that he gave her.
When did you watch that one?
And then the whole time they're looking
What time
for
is
this
it, John?
necklace, and all the time she had it.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
11:40?
Yeah, we've got just like 10 or 15 more minutes of
There's
tape.
no problem. I just don't want to miss Ariel. Now, this here is the program from the United States Air Force Thompson Blues Show in Washington, the command performance, the world premiere. In other words, the first performance. And the President of the United States was there. They were all there to see it. And that's the cover of the program, and the program's right back here. You know, the listing of the acts and so forth
Right.
that I MC.
And then what's this article on the next page?
Here.
Okay.
Oh, you unplugged my camera, didn't you?
Oh, is it getting dead? Yeah, just plug it back in there. Sorry.
The book is full.
Oh yeah, it's an old book.
Yeah, here. Well, see, it lists here the program for Thompson Blue. And it lists the orchestra called the Airliners, instrumental combo. Then it is Gammon and Zang. They were a comedy act that we had. And then vocal solo by Doris Johnson. That's that black woman I was telling you about. And then accordion, Lee Sparks. And that was he was a good-looking guy, flashy guy, you know, with accordion. And just after he got out of the Air Force, he owned a music company, and he sold organs and stuff. And he was delivering an organ and making a turn on a curve, and because of the weight of the organ, it flipped the truck he was in, and he got killed.
Oh man.
Man, that really hit me.
What was this guy's name?
Lee Sparks, a fantastic entertainer. Then comedian Olga Ford, that's that black woman I told you about. She's very funny.
Right.
And then tenor soloist Ben Snyder, Thompson Blue, Douglas Moppet. Oh, he was a dancer, and he was from Alaska.
Okay.
And then Betty Ann Sokoba, she was another singer. Happy Gallagher, he was a juggler, little tiny guy, terrific act.
Right.
Schoolboy Porter, a saxophone player with band, and he did solos.
Mm-hmm.
And World's Worst Magician, Charlie Worpell from Sampson Air Force Base. I did my act there. And then the 14s, they were barbershop quartet, and they were great.
Hmm.
And then the Trojans,